that makes me wonder, is a parasympathetic protocol the best when dealing with sleep because you're trying to calm the sympathetic nervous system and regulate?
So for those listening that are like, what are these fancy words? Sympathetic is simply the mobilization of energy in the body. Oftentimes people talk about it as fight or flight, but in this attempt, we're going to try to move away what I call the pathologizing or creating around trauma of it. And parasympathetic is like that parachute or the relaxing of energy in the body. And that has two branches: ventral vagal, which is social engagement or rest and digest. And that is pretty easy to understand why you'd want to be in that when you're sleeping. And dorsal, which is deep, kind of slower, almost a shutdown, freeze, faint response. So part of that parachuting or slowing down of energy. Parasympathetic is one of my favorite protocols. I have two, and they're actually both helpful for this. So we'll get into that question. Parasympathetic is when we use the frequency of that, so 0.14 hertz to 0.4 hertz. And that is going to increase this parasympathetic nervous system's activation. This is helpful for people with traumatic brain injury, chronic stress, sleep challenges, and even performance. When we have a balanced vagal tone, it allows for us very quickly to mobilize into high energy, high intensity things. Maybe you're a ski racer or have to give a presentation, you need to show up and handle that intensity. But it also allows us to down-regulate and relax and sleep. So you can see it's actually really important to have mobility between both. That protocol not just helps with sleep, doing parasympathetic, but it also helps us with performance. And there was some recent work done by Leah Lagos, Lagos. I hope I'm getting her name. She's done a little bit of work around TBI with heart rate variability, which is what we're talking about here with the vagal tone, and showing that overactivation in the sympathetic branch and deactivation in parasympathetic is actually a big part of concussion recovery. And a lot of that verbiage I was just using is very similar to what she uses. And then when she'll actually escalate people into the neurotherapy type neurofeedback services like we do, when they're not getting the results just through heart rate variability. The reason I wanted to share that before we get on my other favorite brainwave is if you're listening to this and you're like, yeah, cool, dude, so what? I'm on the other part of the world, or I don't really want to do this, or I want something I can do at home. Resonant breathing, which is basically there's different rates in which we breathe that can actually calm our nervous system down. We have ways to test this in our office. But if we roughly inhale gently for 4 seconds and exhale for 6 seconds, like we're blowing out a candle or like cooling down soup on a spoon, that will actually increase that balance of the nervous system, and that'll help us fall asleep. At the end of this, if we have time, you and I can talk a little bit about a wind down routine. This guy, Mike Weeks, I got to meet, he calls it the doorstep routine. Ours is a little different, but it's a cool way at the end of the day to track tension in your body, track stress, move it through your body, and then regulate yourself so you can do it. The other piece, I really like sensory motor rhythm, SMR, or beta 1, or sleep spindles. This is a brainwave that I think of it as an adaptogen.
Sorry, just to clarify, those three brainwaves that you just said, those are the same.
They're just different sites, and like one's during the sensory motor strip. Beta 1 is what it could be called globally, and then a sleep spindle is with your eyes closed.
Okay.
But we're talking about this in terms of frequencies, roughly 12 to 15 hertz. And what's nice about it is it's like this adaptogenic, which means you're able to help you go higher or lower brainwave. That we've ran this with 2 people in the same room at once. One was exhausted and one was amped up on monsters. And one person felt way more focused and energized. The other person felt calmer. Same sites, same brainwave. But what it does is it allows your brain to balance itself out, or kind of bring into neutral, if you will. Helps bring you up if you're feeling down, bring you down if you're feeling up, into that kind of balanced, relaxed, alert, but not efforting state is how I experience it. But it also, when you're sleeping, some people can get into these hypervigilant patterns. I notice this as a parent now. Like, I used to sleep through the night and not notice anything. Now my daughter cries and I'll wake up a lot easier. Still, my wife wakes up way easier than I do. Like, she's got to be screaming for me to wake up, versus Bonnie's much more cued into those cues. I think probably a variety of reasons for that. But that brainwave actually builds resilience and helps you stay asleep longer. It can also help you fall asleep depending on what's going on.